Boom! We are live on the TruMon show with the great Arthur Cristian.
Thank you, Johnny.
I say it in French all the time. Arthur, even
We're
Arthur,
all
I say
great,
it in
mate.
French all the time. But yeah, it's a pleasure and honor again to have you on, Arthur. And today we're going to go deeper into that topic of Ulysses on the mast, okay? And it's weird also that this stuff we were talking about also now suddenly after we finished the 6 or 7 talk we did together, a ship shows up in the port of New York with all kinds of people tied on the mast. I was like, what the heck is this? So all this came after we so it was evident for me that it's
interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. And where I want to start this today, okay, because we're talking about super connection, consciousness, whatever, like connection to higher forces. And I think they have really succeeded making us forget all this being even possible, okay? Because of the programming and the heavy programming, not just programming, heavy programming, the pumping the nonsense in our head since we're young, little kids, and even especially as kids. Now that's where they pump the most nonsense in your head. Anyway, so I think they have really succeeded in the world of Muggle to sever our connection to the source just by making us so unnatural. And in so many ways, Arthur, so many ways. Not only the language we speak, everything is like the emotions and the love you were talking about in your video. That the love, all the love that you talk about in the system is freaking fake. It's freaking fake. Because you're going to divorce, like you said, you're going to divorce 4 times and still say you love her? You love the next person? Like, it's so nonsense. Love should definitely be for higher and divine, okay? Higher and divine, which is nature, which is people on earth that are higher and divine. There is some like you. I love you, Arthur, definitely.
Thanks,
to
mate.
me, you are higher and divine,
I
definitely.
love you too,
so I have no problem expressing love towards you. You are very close to perfection to me, because perfection is perfect fractal, perfect coherence. So you have the perfect fractal just like me. It's just the coherency we have to bring into our being. You're doing a great job.
It's an attitude, isn't it? It's just an attitude that
it's an attitude.
About love. When you love, it actually means full responsibility. So when we love something, whatever it is we say we love, we're fully responsible for that. And so that gives you that's the follow through and the ongoing nurturing, caring, respect, all the good heart virtues comes with it. But
love, like you said,
that love is fractured.
Yeah, but love also, like you said, love is responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, if you are responsible for your children and you love them, do you feed them scrap all day long? No, you don't. You make sure they're fed properly with good nutrients, good food, and you don't put them on freaking Kraft Dinner and Pepsi and ramen noodle. Like, come on. This is not a love. You can't. I don't get it. I don't get that part also where they say they love this, they love their children, but all they eat is scrap all day long, freaking hot dogs and shit, and eat pizza and I name it. The food in here in America is crazy now, how bad it is. It's rampant, but I'm sure it's everywhere the same. Anyway, so they have really succeeded, Arthur, I think, to sever our connection to the source, and the source is nature. So people don't even go in nature no more. Like, I'm on the bike path often, and there's rarely anybody out. Like, good, beautiful sky, blue sky, sunshine. Not only that, you see it also when they put on their sunglasses. Oh my God, I see it so much, that thing now. Why the heck do you need sunglasses? The sun is out. Enjoy it. Why, are you afraid of the light? That's what it tells me. You are afraid of the light. And you like to keep yourself in the dark. And that's another thing of the system, the freaking sunglasses, Arthur. Anyway, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to
that's good, mate.
because I'm very primed tonight.
Carry on, man. No. It's like when someone says, I love you, darling. while they're looking at another man or woman, fantasizing over them. I love nature, but we go into nature and destroy it, and but we are so deeply compromised.
Oh,
We've practiced 24/7 this fake love that we don't know how else to show up. We say, there are just so many things we've allowed into the domain of our lives that where those things we say that we love have been compromised, and we've let look. What you talked about earlier, about the system, it's basically entertainment. We have been so entertained for so long that the dreams that we have been caught up in belong in the system, in the matrix. Or if you want to, let's go back to the sirens on the island. It belongs with the sirens on the island and has nothing to do with our true life, but we don't know it because we weren't protected enough as kids to be nurtured and protected, because our parents really didn't love us. They said they loved us, but they didn't love us because it's all in the doing, all in the action. So, and then we get, and we do it. We're the ones who do the severing. We're just given the opportunity. All the offerings are there. All the temptations are there. Everything to seduce us into it, and then repeat it 24/7. That entertainment. That's why you've got, war, Iran and Israel. You've got Palestine. Look, there are so many things going on outside of our life. And I'm not talking about self-centeredness or self-obsession as such, but just to be in the true peace and calm of our real life in the here and now has been so shattered by so much entertainment coming at us chronically.
yeah.
And this goes into career, into money, in all aspects of commerce and the economy, the stock market and all that. There's so many different things going on that are entertaining us in here. And because it's all fiction, none of it's real. But we perform the labor as if it is real. So we're so busy in the entertainment performing all the fictions because it can't be what it is without us giving the energy to all this stuff. So it doesn't matter whether it's a mortgage or a lease or a rent, whether I've got to make money, I've got to pay tax. This is all fiction, and all this is entertainment, right? And all these actions that we perform are a demonstration that we don't love who we really are, right? Not as a possessiveness, not a possession, but we just don't love because we don't know how to be that sun that shines anymore over what we say we love, because that sun that shine is the nurturing, the protection, the security, the certainty, the trust, and it goes on and on. But all those things have been shattered from so long ago, from so young, going back through our parents. So hence we got to forgive. We really, truly have to forgive. But I get it, Johnny. I get it, and I keep seeing my life as being a hypocrite. I see my life as being, really still. It's like, and I mentioned this in those short Ulysses videos I was putting out, that we are in one massive garbage tip, a massive garbage pile. And here we are trying to extricate our life out of that tip. And and as we're trying to drag our life out of there, we're bringing all this other shit with us, And there's so many other things hanging on. It's just, and this is what the insights that I share about how to find that true peace and calm, which we can't lead anybody to that. I can't do that for you. You can't do that for me. It's when we can come back to that true peace and calm without the words in our head and all that. That's all fiction. And in doing that, to be able to notice all those entertainments going on, all the voices in our head, all those sirens on the island still going in our head, and extricate our life from the tip, from this garbage pile. Yeah, so we can recycle our life. We have to literally recycle. The whole alternative lifestyle is the change in our thinking. It's the metamorphosis of absolute bullshit into love. It's bizarre. And Fiona and I, we are alone with the world because there's not many of us that we can embrace this dance. It's the real one of life itself, where we can love. I'm looking forward to learning to practice loving other families and other families' children and protect them and care for them and make sure they got the best of everything. That's why I want to do this community project here. Because to me, I think that's more important, because I'm then shining all the time. I'm practicing, not thinking about me and I and all that. The rays aren't turning back on I, that I become a black hole. So it's there's nothing perfect in a way to have the remedy that's going to get us out of this. It's really is just recognizing the shit for what it is, seeing our complicity in it, realizing just how much of a hypocrite we've been and still are, caught up in all this fiction, and extricating bit by bit what we say we can do, what we say we can love. Learn how I can love my wife more. And I'm not talking about emotional stuff and I need you and all that stuff and I'm missing you and all that. It's just truly is just be the sun that shines freely, asking for nothing back, and being in that peace and calm with someone else who can hold that too. Because that's when it gets everything incredible, becomes paradise. It starts with each of us. It's a real paradise way of life, So that's the sort of stuff that I've been getting into more lately, talking about, and like to, explore these things more and more. Because to me, I think the remedy is everything, mate. There's no point getting caught up talking about entertainment. Look, apologies, I must say too. Even us doing these podcasts becomes another entertainment for other people, right? It really is. We are so complicit in offering entertainment and responding to the entertainment and trying to do what we do in the entertainment of this islands, of Sirens, this matrix nightmare that we all got caught up in. So
entertainment, but we're doing it for real, so it's not really entertainment. So
true.
I have Stevie did a song, TruMon Sound #1, and he says in the song, we are not just entertainer, we're doing it for real.
Yeah, but there is, what I'm pointing out is, we say that we love, that we truly love our brothers and sisters, and we truly love life, right? And yet, when people, for example, people say they love truth, right? That's a full responsibility to say we love truth. Now, you come to people like us or this man sharing insights about that truth. Right? And I don't know. I give it all away for free. Right? Everything I've ever done. I'm not. This is not a cult. This is not a sect. This is just sharing and insights of what's become of all of us. So people can come on and listen to our podcast, but then they go back to everything they don't love about what they say is the truth, because they spend their life going against it. We spend so much time laboring for anti-life. Look, I love community. I really want to be part of community, but we don't know how to trust anymore. We don't know how to sense bullshit. We don't know how to anticipate situations and counter them before they even begin to happen, and learn to neutralize problematic areas, because we're still magnetically drawing in. We are drawing in this anti-life, this anti-love. All the time we say that we love truth, that we love nature, and we love that. So, you and I, we talk with each other, and I love you, Johnny. I really do love you, mate. And I know you love me too. And I look, we could sit here and pull apart each other's characters. We can pull apart all the shit that we each carry. But it's not about any of it. It's about recognizing what we can do to start loving. And in doing that, we are dissolving. We're gradually dissolving the anti-life that's kept us in the lie, where we are just so caught up. Look, how many people, after whoever gets to watch this podcast, are going to then...
Would you agree also that maybe our ability to recognize natural beauty and question it is like freaking absent or gone? Like, people do not recognize real, like, to me, you are real freaking nature beauty. Like, I recognize the beauty inside of you and the beauty outside. But like, it should be like that for everything, for every plant you meet, for everything you encounter on Earth. You should be able to recognize the beauty. Like the other day, I was recognizing the beauty of the sun. Suddenly, I asked myself, okay, it's the sun is going to bed. It's sunset, like they call, and it's 8:44 p.m. Like, soon, it's still daytime here, and the sun goes down at 8:44. How do you explain this if we're living on a ball floating through space, that the sun in Jamaica, which we're on the same timeline, goes down at 6:44, 2 hours earlier than here in Quebec. But the sun is 93 million miles away. How is this possible? Is it me missing something here? Like, suddenly I'm looking, I'm like, hey, because the sunset and the sunrise are so mysterious for me. Okay, that's my most mysterious thing in all those questioning is the sunrise, the sunset. So I was looking at the sunset and I'm like, okay, maybe it's sunset time too in Jamaica. I was talking to an artist or something. He said, no, it was 2 hours ago. I'm like, what the fuck? 2 hours earlier, we're on the same timeline. So the sun is local. But
it's local everywhere all the time. It always will be. Because what you're describing is that every instant of life, every instant, every moment is unique and original, never to be repeated. So forget time. But even as we traverse across all space, every instant as we're traversing space, of land, whatever, it's unique and original. So the sun will always appear unique and original in every moment. And as we move along, it doesn't matter whether we're an ant or a snail moving at that pace, or whether we're an emu or a cheetah and we can burn huge speed. The uniqueness and the originality of life is a constant. There's nowhere we can get away from this. It will always be unique and original. So when you talk about Quebec and Jamaica, the sun's shining there and the sun's shining here, and everything in between. There's a unique and originality in every moment, every instant, all the traversing that distance. You know what I mean? So, and then in every man and everyone, each one of us, and how we're experiencing what we experience is unique and original, never to be repeated. Every instant, it's a constant co-creation of this glory of life. So, when we get past the fictions of time and all the other things that we've constructed as fictions, the voices in Head of the Sirens on the island, we get to see all this. So that's how I look at it now. So
that's it. You get to move the veil away from your eyes, and then suddenly you see clear, and you question things, and you observe, and and even that sunset thing and the sunset is different everywhere. If you look at the time in Mexico, Guatemala, they all have different sunset times compared to here. That says something. That tells me the sun is not 93 million miles away.
In Mexico will have a whole range of different cults. You can call it industry and industrial revolution. You can call it the same thing will happen in various states in America and all the way into Canada, the various states in Canada. There is so much diversity in the cults of the fiction of the system where we're trapped living the lifestyles that we're actually forgetting the sun of our real life. Because when we're in the here and now, that eternal present sense, when we truly are in that peace and calm, that sun is shining because we are the ones that are shining. If we're not shining, that sun ain't shining. I can tell you this. Look, everything, we are in a co-creation of life. It's what the Ring and Cedar books were anesthesia, what was pointed in one of those books about how, man, the way I slant it is that if it's an analogy, I'll give you an analogy of this, the way I think I can explain it, is that you dream for a partner. You love a partner, and you dream for that and that peace and calm. Then the partner comes. You come across, doesn't matter how it happened, but it happens because we create it. And then there's this co-creation of that peace and calm, of that love you have, and that full responsibility that we shine over that dream of love. It was happening before we had a partner, and it continues to happen with the partner, and continues on after we moved on from the partner to that afterlife, whatever you want to call it. There's no really afterlife, but the responsibility is always there to be present. So as long as we are present, loving the dream of life, that sun is shining. It bounces back. That's the energy of our co-creation, our mutual co-creation shining back at us. But I should continue with this analogy. They want to create a children. The partners want to create a children. And so that love continues and they create the child. And because they love life and the sun is shining, they're in nature. They're in paradise where this child has arrived as this life. and experiencing the sun that's shining over the dream that the partners are holding of that love and of that responsibility. So all the good heart virtues are just radiating. And as long as they love their child and they love that dream that they hold, that sun is shining. If one of the partners decide not to love the other partner, that sun stops to shine over the relationship of that dream. And so the sun will start to dim. The energy starts to dim down in the domain of that relationship. So the full responsibility has been given up. And if we really want to send it to dark, absolute darkness, we just completely end the relationship. We don't love that part completely anymore. It's all gone. So it's gone into darkness. Now, the same with earth and nature. If we stop to love the dream of life in the eternal present sense, there is no light coming back from us to shine over the dream that we say that we love. So when you love your partner, there's a sun shining over the partner of our creation. That's what happened to Fiona when I met Fiona. When I met her for the first time, there was this light around her. I didn't even know what she looked like. Had no idea. I was just completely, but that's how strong the dream was for me. But when I met her, and then I got to realize that was the dream of my life that I've been dreaming for. No, this is like I'm 39 or 38, 39 when I met her. I hadn't been married or anything before. No way, close a couple of times. But what I'm getting at is I had to maintain that responsibility of that love for her, regardless what she was going through, regardless what was happening to her. If I'm committed and responsible to the dream that I say that I love, it's a constant. So it shines over her. So even though I've been struggling on the island amongst the Sirens and so much shit comes into your life, I was in business, back and having to wind my way through all these things that I've gone through. That love is not an emotional attachment to Fiona. I don't need Fiona to respond. I just give that love. It's just like the sun shines over all of man all the time, every moment, every instant, each of us. We're so caught up with so much fiction while we're breathing. While this life is loving us and all this love is coming to us and giving us all this life, we're lost in jealousy and anger and hopelessness and weakness and despair and enmity and pity. And it goes on and on and on, rage and jealousy and anger. And I mean, how much time do we spend in anti-life while the sun is still shining, while the nature is still providing abundance to us in the here and now? Right? And yet you say you go out to nature and you go out and do what you do because you want to keep that connection. But I get it. You're compromised. I'm compromised. We're all compromised. We're so caught up in fiction. The sirens are still so strong in our lives because you got to pay your taxes. You got to pay your local council rates. Whatever you got obligations in the fictional world. So it just makes such a mess of this love that we are supposed to be responsible for. So basically, we're all now, and I say this very strongly, we're all lost in limited responsibility, limited liability, because we don't know how to love fully responsibly anymore. We don't even know the dreams that we've created. Each of us created uniquely and hold that dream. So that's why I've worked hard, in spite of all my shit, to make sure I do not forsake what I say that I love and maintain it. So look, here I'm on 27 acres here. We dreamt for this land. As you may know, through the Love for Life journey, we've been dreaming for this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how we got to it. The fact is that the land, we're responsible. I don't own it. So what do I have to do every day? I love this land. I can't wait around for people to come along and do things. I've got to be busy in the dream that I love, that I say that I love. So I'm out on the road, cleaning the road. I'm out cleaning up all the tree debris and stuff. And then I'm out and doing this and that and this and that. And I've learned this through my own desecration towards this dream that I say I love, because I would find myself getting into, oh God, where is everybody else? And I start feeling sorry for myself, or I start feeling whatever it is I'm feeling. These voices can get to you, mate, like in your head. But I realized if I'm not actually living the dream, if I'm actually not living and doing it, then there is no dream to love. And there's no light in the dream for anyone to come to experience, because there's no light there over the dream that we say that we love. So I'm busy doing what I'm doing, and I'm not going to sit around and complain and bitch and moan and groan about, why aren't you coming to help me with this? Why are you not doing this and that? I stopped all this. I'm going to do it. So when we finish this podcast, I'm going back out and continue on the project work and just keep doing what I'm doing, work with what I've got. And if someone wants to come along and they say they love this dream, they love the kingdom dream, they want to do, well, they start shining too, and they will start taking responsibility and put energy into it. Because that's what it's all about. It's not about the emotional shit, you know, and what's in it for me, and nobody loves me, and I'm missing out on something, and there's this emptiness we carry around because a lot of people are very empty, and they try and place it on somebody else to make them feel better about themselves, because that's what the system does, Johnny. You know that we're trained to look for what we don't have. We're trained to look for what we don't have, because that we've been so shattered, that we've been so fragmented, that we are now on the journey towards having freedom. We're on the journey towards truth. We're on the journey towards consciousness, you know. But all the time, we're actually not in the real peace and calm of that real love, of that here and now that we are meant to be present to. So I make sure that I'm improving my effort to make sure I'm putting more energy into supporting Fiona in the household.
Now
Goes right against my Greek upbringing, mate. The way my mother brought me up. No excuse, but that's
okay. You're talking about peace and calm. Okay, so nature. If we look at nature, on a good day, it's peace and calm. But when there's a tornado or a hurricane or some flood, or it's no more peace and calm. Now, if we bring that inner peace and calmness to all our beings on earth, and we all live in love and harmony, would we see less of those natural disasters? Are they a direct reflection of our chaos?
When I was going to the Theosophical Society when I was 14, 15, I came across a magazine that was inside. This is the Adyar bookshop. It's no longer existing anymore, but part of my journey. And I found this article by an American Indian woman who talked about all the elders. And what they said was that if we look at our life and we look at what nature is giving us when it comes to earthquakes and lava and explosions, you know,
Yeah.
and you think so. You look at anger and you look at rage and you look at emotional despair and all these things. So everything we are experiencing in nature is the collective co-creation of all of us coming back at us. When we stop playing out all the destructive emotions, when we can actually get off that island, the tornadoes will no longer happen. The cyclones will no longer happen. There will be there will be no more thunderstorms as we know, no more hail. There'll be no more, you know, all the things that were doing harm. All this goes because it is a reflection of what we're putting out there. It's like the immune system, you know, the body, you know, if you want to, you say you love your life, you want to be responsible for your life, but you go and eat anti-life food and crap, right? But we say we love life, we love our life, and we want to be, you know, enjoying life. So we have this conflict, you know, this left and well, the body said, well, hang on, you say you love life, but here you want to destroy it. Which way? What do you want? You know, but you know, if you're saying you love your life more, well, the body's going to say, okay, well, I'm going to have to get this other stuff out of here because it doesn't belong in there. So suddenly you're going to have diarrhea. You're going to have vomit. You know, you're going to have a fever. And your temperature goes. So suddenly there, you're going to have your heat waves. You're going to have your deserts. You're going to have your diarrhea. So that it's like the floods. You're going to have volcanic eruptions, right? And all these are expressed in the fevers that we're having. No joke, and that's exactly what we are experiencing with nature itself. And when I read that article written, and I was like 15, you know, it just hit me so hard. It was one of those very strong pivotal points of my life in reading that. And I photocopied that because I couldn't keep the magazine. It was part of whatever they had in there. But I remember photocopying that section, and I've got it in storage somewhere. And I've always remembered this, and I remember talking to Fiona about it many times. Says that when man finds that peace and calm, when the shattered reality ends, when we stop playing out all this emotional destructive stuff, when we're no longer listening to the sirens and being entertained by it anymore, and we're off that island, paradise returns. Right? Now, look, let's add more to this. The occultists behind the system need us to create the chaos, because it's the only way they can provide order, where they can be elevated above us, because we need them. We think we need them because we don't have order. we gave it up naturally. We gave up the natural one from our true
yeah.
heart, our true consciousness. So they play that game too. So they will play out every possible conflict you could possibly play out, us and them, left and right. But it's all controlled opposition. We all know this. Everyone knows this. And even the alternatives that are coming through the middle of it are all controlled by them as well, if they're allowed to play out in mainstream and have influence over public thinking. And they must control everything in the public domain because they don't want outcomes to be outside of their control. They want outcomes under their control. So anyone who supports the agenda, right, who may not be initiated into that Freemasonic world higher up as an intelligence operative as such, they can carry on doing whatever they're doing because it's not a threat to the agenda. But if people come along becoming a threat to the agenda, they will use alchemy and poison and give them cancer. And that, a few years later they die. And they say, oh, poor guy, he died of cancer. And he or she may have had a huge influence over public thinking. They got rid of them that way. There's so many different ways. But the point is that the entertainment of the system is the result of us and how we are so complicit in giving our energy to all this anti-life stuff, all this fiction. So that's why we are in a shattered reality. So, look, I'm sorry I've gone long-winded around this, but you're spot on. We can return to the true peace and calm. We stop ignoring. So basically, you've got to stop listening to all the entertainment going on out there. You got to disconnect. It's a tragedy. The tragedy, seeing millions and billions dying in bombings and the most unjust stuff. But unless we solve it here at the local level where we are here and now and fix it there, where the sun shines in the here and now, then we're going to be looking over the fence at Palestine. We're going to be looking over at Russia and the Ukraine. We're going to be looking over at Donald Trump. Now, all these people have got nothing to do with our real life and what's going on out there. But we're so sucked into this international one world entertainment government system, this order, this fake one world order, we're gonna continue to suffer because we've actually forgotten who we really are. It's oh golly,
and where and what we're doing and everything. We have forgot everything, where we are, what we're doing, what to do with our bodies, we're so confused. As
it's gone that bad, to see. I remember as a young kid growing up seeing that photo of that Vietnamese girl, that little child in Vietnam with the bombings going on. It was a really famous little photo with desolation in the background everywhere. And the only way we fix this is to take the responsibility back where we love what we say that we love at the local level, which we can handle and maintain. A part of this agenda, he changing various views of this, but the colonials supposedly came and invaded these lands. Let's just talk about Australia here. And these imperial forces had convicts. They brought their convicts, right? So they created their colonies and they would have order within that colony until they can bring more immigration in and bring more of that. And then eventually they needed to have something bigger than what was local for the colonials and the convicts. So they created, let's just say, I'm just making this up, right? It's like local government. We needed local government so that all the immigrants can be under some order with everybody else. But what they would do, what these Freemasons would do, is start creating more conflict bigger than what's happening local. Oh, well, listen, we've got to solve this. We've got to have a state government now. We've got to go to something bigger that we can govern all of us, because we've got so many immigrants now coming to Australia and into New South Wales. And we better let's call it New South Wales. So even though the convicts and all the local immigrants are still living local, wherever they may be in this colonial setup, we now have a state government. Now, maybe 60 years, 80 years went past since supposed Captain Cook and Captain Phillip arrived in Australia, but now we're going to have state government. But then state government has a problem too, because there's so many things going wrong at the state level that they've got to create. So and this is what the colonials do. They create bigger problems than even state government. We've got to have a federal government. We've got to bring all the states together under one Commonwealth of Australia. because all these problems are happening everywhere else as well. It's all part of the agenda, how they do it. So we've got to get something bigger than what's happening local. So we're looking at, okay, we've gone past local colonies to local government to state government, and now we're going to go to federal government, right? And then 200 years has gone past, whatever. But now we've got to have an international one world government, because the problem's happening all over the world. It's happening everywhere. So now we've got to bring in a one world government for everyone living local at the colonial level. So we've been all caught up in all of this kind of stuff, but it's blatant. It's all engineered. It's manufactured. But we just can't see how the Freemasons work across generations to hold the agenda, because they're all responsible. When you sell out to it, their love is to the order, and the grand architect, and all the agendas that they carry with them. And so if you want to go back over 2,000 years or whatever, 1,000 is probably all made up. But it's the Freemasons that are the ones who are gaining all the power. So, if you want to stop hurricanes and tornadoes and cyclones and all these other things, we have to withdraw from all of this. We have to get back to local responsibility, where we can hold the dream of life and handle that responsibility, and don't let it be fractured and fragmented. So in my case, a small little piece of land here can be turned into a community, a village, a small village, where we unitedly create such abundance that we can give away vast proportions of food for free. And we can set examples, not to say that others out there are not setting examples, how we can learn to undo what's made us complicit in supporting the voices in our head, all this shit that's been going on for so long.
I think, Arthur, that connection to super consciousness, super intelligence, has really to do with you being linked to nature. And that's where they play a lot to sever our connection with nature and everything that is natural, like the sunset and the sunrise and everything else. So we don't question anything. We just go along with the program and let's go. We're in. So
it's true.
It's true. Crazy and that's where I think we miss a lot of life, and we take a stance for anti-life, like you were saying, because we can't even recognize the beauty of nature and the magic around us.
Well, it's shattered. Here we are. I mean, I've got this in airplane mode, so it won't ring. But, this connects me to a whole world out there. The computer you and I are using connects to the whole world out there. There's iPads, iPhones, and it goes on, and all kinds of stuff. But it connects us to such a big picture of chaos, of distraction, of entertainment. And it has nothing to do with the life of the man that's here and now living on the land here. Now, to disconnect from this, to disconnect from all this technology, we have to discipline this, to stop listening to the sirens that operate through this, and the harp and the chemtrails, and it goes on and on. So it is an artificial big picture that we have been caught up in, and not the natural big picture when we are brought up by nature at the local level, which was an undisturbed nature, where amongst the bears and the tigers and all the other animals, we are expanding our super intelligence through nature as we expand the journey, the natural journey, the uniqueness, the curiosity, the things we do as children amongst nature, even in climbing mountains and things that we do. But that's the real big picture, because the more that we are brought up by nature, the more the super intelligence of our real consciousness expands. And that becomes the natural big picture. And the more that we hold the big picture naturally, we will never do harm to that, because we love it. We're fully responsible. So we protect the domain that we have been brought up in. We protect everything. We will never disturb the forest or the creatures. We won't disturb anything. We won't carry thoughts to covet another man's partner. We don't covet another tribe and want to go and invade and destroy, because we want, being the horse looking over the fence, we want to have what they've got and accumulate that. You know, we're not going to listen to thinking, oh, I've got a better way of looking at life, but you guys don't. But I'm going to come and invade and change yours into my image. So you're all going to be looking through the eyes of how I see everything to be. And that's another psyop, another ongoing agenda that's used all the time just to trap us. But this, the islands on the Sirens, is not our natural big picture. So we have to undo ourselves from Palestine and Iraq and Iran and Trump. We have to undo ourselves from the federal government. We have to undo ourselves from the state government. We have to undo ourselves from the local government. We've got to get back to who we are on the land, here and now, without any of this shit going on. And the more that we can hold it, the more that sun radiates and shines back that love that we're putting out there over the domain that we say we are responsible for. You follow that? Because that's what that's how we fix it. So who amongst us has the courage and the guts to
now Ulysses is on the mast, tied to the mast, very disciplined to follow the path in front of him or her at the local level. Now suddenly Ulysses get thrown stone on the mast. People are throwing stone at Ulysses and want to end Ulysses' life because Ulysses is for truth and reality and nature. What do we do with this? Like, do we
carry on?
I think what we need to build before we go on the mast is an armor and a shield.
You've got to get past the self-centeredness and what's in it for me and all the other stuff, because when we're no longer an I or a me that we're representing, we are just that true love of nature. It's the shattered reality. That's like I talked about one of the videos about. There's this mirror that got smashed, and then we had to try and bring it all back together again. And all the cracks is where the Sirens and the island are operating through all the fictions and all the cracks where all these reflections are happening. So we're looking through a very shattered reality, very badly broken. But the thing is that it's what, if you go back to the truth of the great man, and he said, Father, forgive them for they don't know what they do, and things like that. Yeah. It's showing that what's really happening here is we've got to fix at the local level. It's no longer about what they do, it's what we do. The thing is, what happens here, if we truly forget who we are, if we truly forget the basis of who we truly are and sell that out because we're worried about being stoned, being hanged, being crucified, then the real dream that we have no longer exists either. And in that darkness comes devastation, apocalyptic proportions. We are creating everything and everything. If those brothers and sisters amongst us don't wake up, we can't do anything about that. But we should never sell out because they're throwing rocks at us, or they accuse, like what I've been through, accuse me of being a cult leader and getting into cults. I just ignore it. You've got to ignore it, or I've got to learn to stop reacting to all these bullshit and start just doing what I do here and now with what I can do here and now. That's all that matters, because that is eternal life. I had a dream, and it's part of what showed me these things. And I found myself in this suburban or city area, something made up in the dream. I don't know where I was. But, there were shopping stalls. There were, like inside underground railway stations and all these different department stores and operating. And I found myself in a maze amongst all this. And gradually, I forgot where I was. And I didn't know how to get out of there. I was gone. And then I woke up and I just rolled over to Fiona, put my arm around her. I said, oh, I'm back to reality. But the point was, people die like this, Jeannick. We get so caught up in the fictions of this Sirens on the island, and we're doing it in the here and now, that as the body is deceased, it carries on. We continued being lost because we've never created a real dream. So when we get back to the local level and we start creating the real dream, as our ancestors did long before invasion began, the life we're living from the good heart, from the natural one, it carries on. Even when our body's laid to rest, the true essence of who we are carries on. It's eternal in the here and now. The eternal life is forever. And all our ancestors who live like that are here and now with us. and they do everything they can, but they don't invalidate free will. They just don't invalidate free will. We have to come to it, each of us ourselves. So if you in that dream where I found myself, oh, I knew that road. I know if I go down that way, that'll lead me to that and I can get out of there. To eventually, I didn't know where there was any to get out of anywhere. And I remember waking up from it and I remember feeling this thing. And I thought, thank you. You showed me. Again, another way of looking at how we get so caught up being those who throw rocks, being those who accuse other people of cults, being caught up with politics, being caught up with rock music. Look, it doesn't matter what it is. They're not our dreams. And we have spent so long surviving inside this rabbit warren, this matrix, that we get to such a point of our own doing that we have forgotten who we really are, each of us. And it's there that you don't worry about if people are going to throw rocks at you. You don't worry about any of this stuff anymore. It's what you can do. Now, I did point out to you a couple of things. The more that we wake up, the faster our speed of thought happens. And any intention from anyone else who seeks to do harm to us, doesn't matter if it's intelligence operatives or not, because they come in to create chaos no matter where, because that's all part of this bigger picture agenda that they operate. They don't want us to go back to the real remedy, because that's their greatest threat. So at the local level, we can be got at in many different ways, which is what I experienced through the Love for Life work. With the chaos that was on offer, we've had different people turn up and they tried to undermine Hannah when Hannah was involved back then before she's gone off to Misty Mountain, do work at Misty Mountain. But I could see one guy who came out. I won't go through I'm not going to name names and all that stuff, but it was one connection to a very big international band, very well-known band. And the guy living in Australia, one of the members. And this guy contacted us and eventually came to visit us in East Barrow when we had that, that garden producing all that food. And literally within hours, he started playing emotional rackets and destructive stuff outside the garden. And he tried to bring Hannah down, tried to disturb Hannah. Because I knew straight away, I picked, okay, they're trying to just create a disturbance to the peace and calm. They don't want that peace and calm. Because if we can break that peace and calm, then people flee from what they say they love. They won't love it anymore. They won't be responsible anymore. And I actually got that guy in the same day that he arrived. I got booted him out. He didn't even stay the night. I got rid of him. I physically had to grab him and push him up against the wall. I actually had to do that. It was that bad. Because I could see the danger of what was happening here. Now, that was where I was at then. Now, what I'm trying to get at, our speed of thought can anticipate anyone else's intention faster than it arrives into our domain, to our life. We can counter it. So we're never alone, and we can write out anything if we do stay in that true peace and calm, and we can hold that bigger picture. It comes naturally. And I've mentioned my stories about assassination attempts. The 4 of them that happened during the time at East Barrel, I avoided them because I anticipated and did something to counter it in the moment, in the here and now. I didn't rationalize it all. It just happened because I trusted and I acted on it. And I'm physically, the body's still here, still talking Love for Life inside, still doing everything I'm saying I'm doing. Doesn't matter what they try to do to shatter everything around it. I'm still going. I'm still here now. So I don't worry about the rocks being thrown. I don't worry about all these people, what they're going to do. It's what we do. And that responsibility is huge when you say that you truly love paradise, you truly love the domain of life, you love of nature. Then we really are going to walk that talk.
So,
and that means, one more thing, that means no back doors, mate. There's real community immunity, all those amongst us in a group who are saying we live that. Nothing can get through that group. Because harm to you is harm to me is harm to you. Anyone in that group was being attacked. We all come together and stop it. And if we can anticipate, we can counter it much faster. The fiction is so minimal. It hasn't got many options. But the big heart that we truly have it's unlimited. It's unlimited in its capacity to counter and change.
Okay,
And ability to resonate.
if we focus on the remedy, because that's remedy solution our title, and really the remedy is clear. It's discipline. I wrote it down: discipline and responsibility. That's the two key word to start having a remedy. It's having discipline and responsibility. Now, I would like you to expand on what, because the discipline is so huge and the responsibility also. Like, it's crazy. We're so far gone, irresponsible of everything that the system took over, and is responsible now for what we eat, for what we speak, for what we think, for what everything the system is feeding us, everything. So how does a being completely in the dark, is he meant to stay in the dark, or those chosen one that sees the light are meant to become more responsible and more disciplined? Like, is it for everyone, discipline and responsibility?
Well,
That's my question. Is it for everyone?
something is look, unless we mature with the wisdom that we have developed, each of us, to be able to hold the responsibility of a dream that we say we love. Like, say, I love community. If we pick the people that we want to be with, we're fully responsible. Each of us is fully responsible for that. Do we give that up because some emotional feeling comes out? Oh, I don't like the way he smells. I don't like the way she cooks. I don't like the whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. If we let any of these, no matter what they are, come in, we're no longer loving what we say that we love. And so we are undermining, and in undermining it, we are forgetting who we are too. Because the dream of life, the natural dream of life, as children being brought up, we are fully responsible for the domain that we hold. And we cherish all our ancestors in that domain. It doesn't matter whether it's thousands of hectares or whatever. The domain of life is a dream. And if we say we love that dream, we would never desecrate it. We would never go against it. And if that dream holds other brothers and sisters in a wandering nomadic tribe, or whether it's a local village or local community, if we say we love that dream and that's our life, we're fully responsible for it. We come to the foreground as a constant. We're not going to let, what's in this for me? I seem to be so busy doing different things out there, and I don't have time for me and me. We start listening to the voices in our head, and the I, me, and the my, and all that other emotional stuff come out, and we start playing out the petty stuff, how we chip away and undermine each other. You're going to destroy it. So there's your remedy. You've got to be conscious. You've got to have the wisdom to be aware of these things. And that's the work that I've been putting out there, trying to do the best I can to explain how these things work and why we end up undermining and sabotaging. So we're always looking over the fence of what we don't have and dreaming for and wanting it. So look, community is a big thing for us, as anyone that knows us would know. But community is not contracting with local government and state government, federal government, and all that, and allowing all that brainwashing to seep in, right? We have to be stronger than even all of these things, because basically we allow what we say we love to be compromised. So we let third-party strangers come into our lives, between us and land, us and food, us and shelter, us and water, us and children, us and brothers and sisters, and us and the elderly, us. It's the amount of things that we've allowed these third-party strangers to come in, because we gave up responsibility at the local level where we're living to allow all these other strangers to come in and govern us. You've got to undo all this. This is not a rebellion as such. This is not like some revolution. It's simply just holding, or basically taking back that full responsibility and stop giving it away. So you've got to see how it all plays out at the bigger picture. Because if we don't see it out, if we don't see the bigger picture, how it plays out, we're not going to stop all the small fires that are feeding the big fire that's kept us all stuck in this hellish world that we're in. And we don't know why we don't seem to ever be able to get out of it. But it does when we get back to that true peace and calm on land, and we take the responsibility for that land to start caring and nurturing for it. Yeah, you can call it Noah's Ark if you like, and call it whatever you like. But for me, you have to be conscious enough to not let any of these things get in the way. Now, people can come, for example, with us, people can come and be troubled by all these things because it's almost impossible to meet people who are not troubled by these things. But if they're willing to hold the responsibility to never play it out with others, no matter what, so it doesn't play out amongst each other, yet the stuff still comes up, then we can help to nurture each other and heal. So we are Ulysses on the mast with that discipline and focus moving forward. Because basically, to build a community out of this garbage heap, this one world massive pile of mess that we've become garbage in, there's no one's going to come to any project that isn't damaged, carrying all that seething stuff with them. Because it is seething. Because there's an element of distrust. There's an element of fantasy. There's an element of, where we represent where people say, what's Johnny like? And I can start buttering Johnny up. Oh, he's like this, he's like that, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. When I should say, well, why don't you go and visit Johnny and find and experience it directly, find out what Johnny's like. That's the real one, right? So we will cover people up. We'll create rose-colored gardens out of people and say, oh, they're like this and it's amazing and all that. But really, it's because we're painting what we don't have about ourselves through other people to give us something that we want, that we can never satiate. It's insatiable. So basically, all the time that we want to have all these things that we say that we love, we're actually destroying it because we're letting that shit come in and play out amongst each other to destroy groups. Well, we all came from tribes and our ancestors way back all came from tribes and villages and stuff, right? Another one, people have accused me of being a cult, right? All this cult shit. So I said, because I talk about community and responsibility, that makes it a cult, does it? And then I said, well, that means that all our ancestors way back in village and tribe are all cults.
Yeah.
So, so you're saying that all of life in the system is a cult. And I'm going to say, well, it's true. What I'm talking about is to break away from that garbage pit, get out of that bloody cultish mentality, because only people in cults will accuse other people of being in cults. When you're not cultish, you're never going to circumvent or circumnavigate other people and put them and superimpose them inside boxes of bullshit and label them like this. I'm not going to label Janik into what Janik is like.
It would be so easy to do community work also because the communities are already in places. Like there's a whole neighborhood here in the back. If people all start working together, they can feed the whole neighborhood just by themselves. They don't need government, no grocery store, no. If they all contribute together to put in something.
But they're all, how many of these people are plugged into this?
But that's what I'm saying. But
how much of a big picture is in their life? How many of them are all tied up with local council contracts, state government contracts, federal government contracts, paying tax, paying land title, paying mortgages, leases, paying for fictional dollars? No, we get tantalized with basic stuff of the truth, but it's never the big picture of the whole truth because we don't have the real paradise to experience it in its great glory. It's all compromised, all shattered at the local level where everyone's living. So even all the band-aids we spend doing community projects after the big floods we had in the mid-north coast, and great people, wonderful people came out from everywhere to come and help fix it. But nothing really has changed because the system is still in place. And how much work we put to explain the reason all these third-party strangers are in our lives who have got nothing to do with our dream. And we allow them in our life because we don't know who we are or what we are anymore. So we will not appreciate and respect and nurture nature. We don't know how. Look, I still battle with this myself, even when I'm out and about. I find myself getting into doing something that's going to go against and start and harm something. Even an ant colony. And I just sit and I go, wow. Look, I think it's all in the intention. The remedy is in the intention that under all these circumstances, as long as we don't bash each other up and we don't bash up our own lives and we don't play out this emotional shit anymore, And anyone's listening to this, you can go back through our videos. You can find them on your YouTube channel or my YouTube channel, our YouTube channel. You can find about all the different facets of this emotional stuff. But as long as the intention is to do no harm, in spite of the fact that we're pulling our lives out of the garbage wreck, and we're going to bring the garbage with us, as long as we're willing to not play it out in our own life or play it out with others, we have the capacity to transition and get out of this mess. And we can fix it at the local level. So my goal is to create a paradise. I create a paradise, a waterways with key line systems. So the water, you can hear the sound of water across this 27 acres all the time, wherever you are. Having different places where people can live, where there's botanical gardens and green sweeping fields, where there's orchards and where there's native habitats, where there's feathered friend environments. And we build it and we create, and that's what I'm doing every day. I do even I'm just cleaning and maintaining and that. That's my energy going into the dream. If others want to come along and contribute to this dream, I don't own the dream. I'm just a custodian of the dream, because everyone benefits from the dream. It's not mine to own. It's not mine to act as a king or queen over the top of everybody else. We don't operate like that. We're just wisdom keepers. You follow what I'm saying? So.
But also intentions is shown in action. Like you say,
exactly.
Intention is shown in action. I always say that to my son. He tells me, thank you, blah, 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 I'm great. Show me in action. Show me you're grateful.
But that's the real love.
That's it.
That's the real responsibility.
Yeah. And I think that's where we miss a bit. We seem to have good intentions, but no action to match it. Like often I go out on my bike and I see people with huge lands, nothing on it, not even a fruit trees, a garden, nothing, grass growing all over. Sometimes I stop and I just look at the place and I can't believe it. I can't believe it that they don't even have an apple tree. Apple grows in Canada. It stays dormant in the winter and it comes back in spring. Even if there gets minus 60 degrees C, it will still grow. There's fruit growing in Canada. We're not always in snow. Like, people should grow fruit trees all over the place. No, nothing on their land, nothing at all, man.
I know.
Complete disconnection, sitting inside in front of the TV instead of working the land that they have. Like, a lot of people find themselves with huge houses, huge land, but do nothing. Like,
that's what Fiona and I experienced. We when we became really homeless, and we were homeless since all the corruption started in our life and stole everything we had, compromised everything. Then starting up Love for Life and doing something about working out with how all this works, what's going on. But we found ourselves 2019 in a camper trailer. Thank you to our friend Julia, who put the money, gave us a gift so we could live in a camper trailer and stay in caravan parks and showgrounds while we sort out what we're going to do, and we had everything else in storage. We were driving around, doing all the work we do, talking, and there's land everywhere. Areas fenced off just to protect areas for water, for dams, and people sitting on hundreds and hundreds of acres, right? And here we are driving around, living and sleeping in a car, 3 dogs in the boot, and Fiona and I in the car. She sleeps in the back seat, I sleep in the front seat. And for 10 months, we're sleeping in the car. Every now and then, before that last stage, before we came to this property, we had, we stayed on various people's places to basically to survive.
Yeah.
While we're trying to work out, I'm committed to having this here and now dream of living on land and being responsible. So I get what you're talking about, because it blows me away, the scale of how much land was in the Southern Highlands. And most of this land is extreme wealth, so that's put most people out of the picture to even get it. And then people sitting on all this land. And that's why I've been saying for years to many friends I got close to me, I said, listen, if you can't make this work on the smallest scale, make it work, which is like the East Barrel property, where on roughly 1/6, a bit more than 1/16 acre with the house on it, we're probably something like 1/6 of an acre or something. On a block, but the garden was like 1/16 of an acre. Now, and I was saying to some of my friends, if we can't make it work here and now with what we got now, forget the bigger picture, because you'll never be able to make it work. Even if it looks like it's going to work, it'll all come apart, because we're still undermining and sabotaging and allowing things to undermine and sabotage it as well, because we're not wise enough. We're not seeing the bigger picture, and we can't anticipate what's coming to undermine it and destroy it. So
so the fact that those people don't see the big picture is the fact why they have nothing on their land.
Because they don't know who they are anymore. They
Yeah.
don't even, if you don't know who you are, you're not even on land anymore. That is the dream. You're in fiction. You're in a suburban home. You're in an apartment block. You're ruled by this and the internet. You're ruled by the clock. You know, the clock's another massive big one. And on it goes, you know, and then you've got all these other fictions coming out of, so I've got to work, got to get food on the table, I've got to pay my bills, I've got to have to pay for electricity. You know, people have all these comforts, system comforts, that have made us so compromised, and it's part of what contributes to the bigger picture of chaos and devastating forests. And you know, we are all complicit. I mean, they say carbon dating, we've got to cut back on carbon dating, global warming, all that. It's because we are the fire. We are burning as hell. And we are consumers and materialists over the dream of life that we say that we love. You know, if we go and experience one part of nature that's been untouched and we just get so inspired by it, if we truly love that, we would be inspired to change everything about us so it could meet that standard, meet that responsibility, and start living it, which is the challenges that's faced this man and Fiona. Well, we've done what we've done. You know, so it's that intention is paramount, in spite of how much effort has been brought in, so that the whole of Earth's been turned into the island of the Sirens, and that the Sirens are coming at us constantly through this, yet alone through the chemtrails and the HARP and all the radio waves and microwaves, and through all the chemicals and all the other heavy metals, to turn our bodies into antennas and transmitters so we can pick up and listen to all the feelings. This is voodoo practice too, by the way. We are all complicit in voodoo, because we're open to listening to feelings and reacting to the feelings of those voices in our head, and play out the destructive situation, whether it is with a partner, whether it's with the family, whether it's in the local community, whether it's in the business career. It doesn't matter. We play out these destructive feelings, because I've mentioned this before. It isn't just the worldwide technology and engineering that's brought about the sirens in our heads as a constant. There's this voodoo that's created through the intention of the occultists, through the breath. Because every time we breathe out, our dreams are encoded in the breath. They can also put out destructive feelings and tensions through the breath remotely and target you. So I know, I'm not going to, I can't sit and prove this to you, but I know this is what goes on. They will have pictures of me. They will use voodoo on me remotely. So anyone who thinks of this man's name or this man's image, feels this image, they will instantly summon to them all the destructive emotions and feelings to make sure they maintain a distance from this man, because they don't know how they've been manipulated. And they may put even a stigma associated with this man through, you know, corruptive word of mouth bullshit in the local community or wider communities. Oh, watch out for him. He's cult. He's this, he's that, this and whatever. So what I'm getting at, their voodoo is where it all started in the first place, how the tribes fell from paradise long ago. So the way it all started is exactly how it is today, except it's magnified, huge now. So if we were in, let's look at this. Our great ancestors, pre all this shit, were in paradise, yet they fell. How'd that happen? How did all the descendants ever since, including us, never returned? How did that happen? What, you know, so when you realize it from that perspective, one of the ways I got to see was that, okay, so, you know, man's creating children. We all, you know, and the tribe's growing, getting bigger. And there's quirks, because we're in the uniqueness, originality, there's differences. There's always going to be ongoing, constant differences all the time. Never-ending smorgasbord of wonderful uniqueness, originality. What we call change all the time, which is what we're supposed to be connected to in the here and now as a constant. That's what we should be revering and protecting. So my theory is this: that's one of the members of a tribe long ago, through free will, came up with an idea of providing a suggestion to another tribal member. Said, "Why don't you about look at doing this and that differently?" Now that became the desecration, because the Adam and Eve and the snake around the forbidden tree. The forbidden tree or the forbidden apple is explanation, instruction, education, suggestion, indoctrination. All those things. We're not supposed to define perception for anyone at anything ever. We're not supposed to alter anything to be what it isn't anymore, be something else. So a man put the seed of an idea into another man and started to explore this as a feeling and liked it. Now that's the snake passing the apple to Eve, who then passes it to Adam in the symbolism. So the occults know they all know the truth, how all this works. So this man probably gave another suggestion to another tribal member, maybe another tribal member. Now, it's possible that he grew this ego because he noticed the importance of his suggestions affecting people in the tribe that he was part of. And maybe he thought that I don't want people to know that I'm manipulating everybody. So he'll hide behind the trees and do the voodoo and put the feelings in people's heads and try and influence them that way. So even though he's amongst everybody, no one suspects that one amongst them has been doing this to each other. So this gradually became the fall from the Garden of Eden, from paradise. And we can go on and on. In other videos way back, you can find, I explain a lot more about all of this stuff and what it all came to. But to me, how that started is still how it is today. It really is. We spend a lot of time, even you and I, talking on the internet, posting this, putting it up. We seek to influence other people. We're putting it out there. So we're just one of zillions of putting it out there, through this.
Yeah.
The islands and the sirens, making suggestions, influencing other people, thinking we have better ways of looking at things because we think our version is the right one. We could be megalomaniac dictators and psychopaths and sociopaths and all that behind corporations and institutions and private societies and all the other Freemasonic things that go on. But in the end, they see their world as being glorified, that they're doing the best they can with what they got, what they've been given, regardless how much power they have, how much money, factional wealth, all that may have been procured along the way through everyone's labor, slave labor forces. So, it's the only way we fix it, Johnny, brothers and sisters, we have to stop it here and now at the local level where we're living and start holding a bigger dream over the land that we're caring for and start changing it. So you've got to look at the thoughts in their head that come from the sirens. Ownership is one of them. What's in it for me? This is mine. It goes on and on and on. They're all reactive things, reactive stuff.
And if you have land, grow stuff, you don't eat it, give it away. That's what I do. I grow a whole bunch of stuff, bring back stuff from the farm. I give it all away, almost. So, that's the community work I think we should start doing, really, is grow food, share with each other, start building some love within each other also, not just hate and jealousy and envy and many other emotions that are man-made, because out of nature, like you say often, a child born in nature, it doesn't rage after someone else giving him Anyway, yesterday I'm on my bike. Someone cuts me off to go in his driveway. I just gave him a thumb up. The guy started chasing around me in the street with his car. Like I just gave him a thumb up, bravo champion, and he started to chase me. So imagine the reaction. There's not even thinking in his head. I was an enemy when he doesn't realize the enemy is inside him. That's the thing also. Okay, kiddo, no. Kim, can you take her? Non, c'est parce que je suis live
Well,
on
the
YouTube.
whole of system
I'm
life,
live
is
on
a
YouTube
reaction.
with Arthur.
But you realize that the whole of all of system life, everything on the island of the Sirens is a react. On. We are affected by the stimulation of others coming into here, and we react to that.
We're so overstimulated,
which is different from the heart one, where we're radiating and just and we got and nothing's turning back on I or me or mine or all that, because that's where the good heart and all its virtues operate. So holding that discipline, holding that respect. Oh man,
I had no bad intention. I didn't do this. I did this. My intentions were good and pure. I want him to notice his action was wrong.
Good on you.
But
good on you.
Forget about it. You can't even talk to them. They gotta
good
start.
Good on you. That's all I can say. It's well done. You know,
my intentions were not bad. Just wanted him to notice. He cut me off. That's all.
So keep that sun shining.
Had confrontation within me and the desire to confront himself, I would have stopped with my bike and give him a bunch of shit. But I didn't. I just kept going, and you
just keep using that brain of yours in your unique way, and just keep building the domain and holding and creating the gifts. So it's a 24/7 action. You're living all the time. I mean, look, we all got to get past the talking, the words, and all that stuff. It's just be in the doing, like you talk about your son. It's all in the action. It's all in the doing.
Actions, intentions. Yeah, exactly. You have good intention. Match it with action.
No more. I love you. It's you're creating it. You're creating it. That's what we do. We create it. If others want to come and take on that responsibility, they create it too, and that's how we fix it.
I even tell them, don't tell, because they tell me I love you all the time, and sometimes I don't even answer, because to me it doesn't make sense. So I even tell them, you love me? Show me in action. Don't tell me, show me.
Yeah. What you're saying is that why should you doubt this love you have for me? You don't need to doubt me, so why would you even say it? You only say it because you doubt it.
Yeah. Why do you say it? Because you doubt it? You doubt I care for you?
Yeah, no, imagine if the sun doubted it's love, it's life, what would happen? It would go black.
No, but the love thing in our society is so misused. It's terrible. It's the words.
I wonder. Huh? I was going to say, Johnny, I wonder. I can't prove this. I've said it many times in videos and meeting people. I talk about it. I believe we create our outcomes that we dream for. And I really do think that most of the population of man are living in the here and now, determined by all of us in the here and now, who will no longer be here, but they won't even know that they're gone. Because there's like that dream I said, where you get so inside, lost in it, and trying to work out what's the way out. They don't even know that there's an out. They don't even think about it. They're just so caught up in the entertainment of it.
Yeah.
And they die like that, and they continue in the dreaming like that.
Yes.
And so that's why it's very important to create real living dreams where we don't talk about love. We don't doubt it. We being it and living it, because that's what's eternal.
Love.
Be it.
Yeah.
And that's what carries on. Even when the body is deceased, it carries on living that dream.
Yes.
And we, the essence of our true consciousness, that super intelligence, is still there. And it's there for all the descendants to come. And we may come as another life if we choose to continue expanding the paradise of that dream, of that true godliness of what we all are.
If you can all exhibit rage in a physical form so easily, why don't you exhibit love in a physical form?
It's so simple. It's unbelievable.
Simple.
It's so true. It's such a very wise way of looking at it, mate. Exactly. If we can do all these things, we can also do all the other things. But why do you want to doubt it? Why do you doubt it?
Yeah.
Why are you worrying about people stealing everything? I mean, I still have issues about that. I got to protect. I don't want people to come and take things from you that could be useful for the group here and the community here. So I have this quandary at times. Sometimes I have to be overprotective because I don't want some other people who just want to covet what we've got here and steal it all. And maybe there's still issues about me. This is how I keep looking at my stuff. See, witness what's going on here? Why? But I do the best I can to establish a motherland amongst this chaos of land title deeds and all the other, subservience people give themselves over to. But
something that never made sense for me is locking the door of my house. Why would I lock the door? Why do I lock the door? If someone wants to come in, they'll come in anyway. What's the point of locking I never understood why there is locks on doors.
Well, what you do, you leave the door unlocked, put a bell, so when anyone tried to move the door, the bell goes off.
Like, I don't know. There's so much things that don't make sense for me, but
you got to anticipate. Well, it's a battle, Sean. It's a battle to anticipate amongst this. The chaos is so enshrined. The islands of the Sirens so deep in our heads, mate.
That's it. There's so much sirens, so much noise that they think they have to lock the door because someone's gonna come and get them. Fear is there. Yeah. Anyway, Arthur, that was a great talk again. I don't know if you want to add anything else, but I think we should really focus as remedy, as I said and you said many times, discipline and responsibility for the self.
You will know you're on the right track when that real peace and calm is in your life, because you can't fake it. You can't talk yourself into it. It's something that just, it shines, it radiates out, because in that true peace and calm is the creativity of who we are, because we are creative living consciousness, that super intelligence. So in that creativity, we're bees to the hive, we're the ants to the colony, we are the birds to the flock, and on it goes. We're so in the creativity, and it's there in the creativity where there is no I, me, mine, all that going on, that the peace and calm, the joy and the happiness and the freedom, all those things naturally arise from the creativity of that sun shining of our real love for life. And that's what it is. That's the remedy. So you will know you're on the true path when you have come to that true peace and calm, where you won't let anything else come in and undermine and take that away from you again, because you are responsible to hold it. You're responsible to be it and live it and do it. And when we are like that, there's nothing to talk about anymore. It's dead silence, because we're busy living it, being it, doing it. That's when we know we're on the right track. That's the remedy. You'll see the signs of that. So when we have that true peace and calm, we do not have anything else from strangers, third parties, fictions, coming ahead, pulling us. Oh, I got to pay local council rates. I've got to pay taxes. Oh, I got to pay this. Oh, I've got to get up the clock. I got to go. When we get back to that ruin, the community amongst us who want to live like this, that strength, we can raise each other up by carrying the weight of the responsibility. So make sure that we create the clothes amongst each other. We help with whatever we need to do, make sure the clothes are washed. We make sure that we have all the food that we need and that we have it 24/7. We have all the cool rooms and all those things. Sure, we use fictions to help us build the transition, but we know that we have to let go of these fictions in building what's so deeply compromised today: land, food, water, shelter, and all the creativity things that come with it. To create a location, a place where children can be raised up by nature again amongst all of us elders. And we're all the custodians who make sure that that is never desecrated again, that we don't do the Adam and Eve, apple and snake thing anymore. Now, that's a serious, serious thing, because, you imagine being guided out by people. My God, you're not sending your kids to school. How, you're the kind of taboo associated with all these things that's been intentionally designed that way. Just fear porn and scare. And yet look at this amazing nature. Incredible. It doesn't need school. It doesn't need third-party strangers. It doesn't need federal government. It doesn't need tax. It doesn't need commerce and banking and all these things. It's already happening. It's living it and being it and doing it. And that super intelligence is here and now. It's in the. Why are we forsaking this? We've been
Because
given everything and
most
so
of the
much more.
most of the population praise the system instead of praising the Most High. Also, like, we're
Which
not
is life.
praising the right stuff here. We're not praising nature and the Most High or the forces or God, or call it the way you want, the super consciousness connection. We're praising
If
the
the,
system.
if what I agree with you, if you let the super intelligence recede, we die. Well, there's no more air to breathe. There'll be no more sun shining. There'll be no more nature creating abundance of food. There'll be no more purity and sincerity in living food and water and all that. We
And
die because we
what you said,
decayed.
what you said about paying bills and stuff will still happen once you're living the dream of life, or you're living like the life like you live. You're still gonna pay bills, but you don't get absorbed by it, and also you will be supported by higher and divine towards your dream. Like, we're supported here. We might not think that there is forces supporting us, but there is, the moment you start linking up with nature and divine and higher and divine, there's that force that will come and support you also, and fuel you and inspire you, and
Excuse
you
me.
will feel more alive than ever before, because you are for life. You are not for death anymore. Like, I am for life. So I have life come to support me very often in ways that I don't expect, because
It's the
that's
relationship you have with your brothers and sisters. If you have the impure one, then your relationship you have with your brothers and sisters will be the taxation you play out. It'll be the land rates, it'll be the council rate, it'll be everything of the system, all the technology, everything. The relation we have with each other, we do it from the good heart. When we take
yeah.
responsibility, it plays out with each other too, and that raises each other up. And we do it because that's the relationship we've created with each other. It's all happened because of each other. It's not because of something else outside of us, some alien entity, some demonic force. It's all man-made, because it's all about taking responsibility in the here and now. So if we change the relationship we have with each other and build a community, a small community or whatever it is, amongst each other, where everyone's responsible to live from that good heart and its virtues and don't listen to anything else, we reach the point where we can just disconnect from it all. We truly disconnect from it all. And even if things get to that point, people will no longer be here. It will be that quick. I reckon it'll happen that fast. And I'm not saying we should be reliant on what I'm saying. Oh, I told you so, this will happen. I don't mean that. What I'm getting is that if you create a community strong enough amongst brothers and sisters to change the relationship we have with each other, so there's no one in the relationship that supports taxation, government, military, police, daycare centers, hospital centers. Isn't it insane that a mother who says she really loves her children has to take her to a daycare center and then kindergarten and school because she says she loves her children, but she hands them over to strangers most of the time while she goes to work to make money. So
I
that she
say that every day. My wife works in the daycare.
and
I tell her every
do you
day.
realize that when you look at this in 1,001 different ways, all going on every day, how we've given up so much responsibility because we want to survive the basics of life. We work to have a roof over it, a secure roof over it. We work to have good food on a table. We work to feed our kids and all that. If we wake up, we just change the relationship we have with each other to stop all that, so that no mother has to or father has to send their kids off to strangers to be given the Adam and Eve treatment, and on it goes. So it's just changing the way we live with each other and being aware of the bigger picture to not let that come in and undermine us. So if we, as we grow and become bigger and strong enough that we don't need the outside world because we're creating everything, we're back to how we were as our ancestors were before invasion began long ago, before voodoo started, before all this happened.
Before the voodoo started.
It's true.
Yeah, no, I get
Because
it.
it's true. Why would I harbor an intention to manipulate and control somebody else for my own betterment at the cost of theirs? Why would we do that?
No,
So
but we're
how that
so
was
blind.
started.
It's so evident, and we're so blind to it. Like
And
it's
that's why
crazy.
the guy,
And when you
exactly the same.
wake up, it's so evident. Everything is so clear. But then you get people around you that still don't get it.
It doesn't matter. We don't wait and live our life around these people. If you are that clear, you will attract, or you'll move your family, or people will move to you. But you will do what you have to do for the dream because you're responsible for it, Johnny. You will do what you do. So we will have to get past all the system comforts. We've got to get past all the system securities if we want the real dream, where all we're doing is reforming relationships with each other, where we don't play out the sirens on the island amongst each other, where we don't play out all the hardships and all the other disturbances of chaos amongst each other. Because we, as the tribe, we hold the vision of the big dream, and we make sure we are that, we're living that, being that. We stop talking, we're doing it, right?
Yeah.
So if it's 20, 30, 40 of us, well, we can unplug. We truly can unplug. We don't need it anymore. And the fact is, there is no law that stands up to you against that. None, because they don't exist. They're fictions.
They're
There's
fiction.
no man has an authority greater than another man that way. The lie will be played out as if you're a subject and you're subjugated as a subject. But when you wake up, like what this man's been doing, that authority no longer exists because I don't need that authority in my life anymore. I don't need them to tell me how I should live my life. I will not create a life of chaos that spreads out into the lives of others to affect them, and they need protection by bringing in third-party strangers to provide government and control at the local level, send their police force or the military if it's a bigger problem, because we stopped it. It all comes back to full responsibility for what we say we love, and the buck stops with us. So I love a dream enough to create a village at a local level amongst brothers and sisters who also love that and dream for that. And that's what we're open for.
Love
And
for life.
sure. And you've got to have good bullshit detectors. You've got to be able to anticipate and sense things, but watch out for the voodoo.
Oh, yeah.
Watch out for the voodoo because people get things in their head. They don't feel comfortable. They don't feel right. And all that's coming from the manipulation of these people.
Yeah.
No different when people ask me what's Janik like, and I sit there and explain everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And none of that's true. Because if you want to experience Janik, you go directly to Janik. If you want to experience Arthur, you come to Arthur and experience Arthur directly. And if you take responsibility, you'll realize that I'm not a threat. But if you're going to bring that shit with you and play out these rackets and play ego and self-obsession, or that, well, of course I'm going to interfere. I'm going to put an end to it because I cannot operate in a dream like this. It's a sickness. And I don't want to have that sickness come amongst us in a group when we're creating a relation from the heart. So this has got nothing to do with religions. It's got nothing to do with cults. It's got nothing to do with philosophies. It's got nothing to do with spirituality, all these things. It's just simply, we are each responsible for what we say we love, what we care for, what we nurture. And if we have that in a dream amongst brothers and sisters who are also going to hold it, then I'm responsible, as each of us is fully responsible, to make sure that everything present to that dream is available. That no one's going to grow food and then hide most of it for themselves for one day and then give a little treat. We don't live like this anymore. We create abundance. So there's always constant flowing because we set it up like that.
And we're not supposed to live in scarcity. Exactly. We live in abundance. But right now, it's an abundance of scrap out there. So we got to bring the abundance.
Garbage,
mate. Abundance of garbage.
So,
anyway, large up, Arthur. It was an honor again to have you on. We'll see if we do another part together.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in. If you're in, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk. You never know. One man comes
I like to
along,
talk.
somehow, you don't know.
I like to cure my trauma with you a lot. Like it brings me good energy, and I always feel good after talking to you. So, and your wisdom and your knowledge is like uncomparable to other beings on this earth. You're a man of deep wisdom, and you have went through a lot of shit in life. So you have a lot to share, and often those who have went through the most hard stuff are the ones the most enlightened.
You know what it is, Johnny? What it is? I'm just an example of the garbage heap and how light can come out of that garbage heap.
Yeah.
Even though that the body is coming out of it's carrying all the garbage with it, that light is shining, the real
Yeah.
one.
Oh yeah. You
And
have a
that's how the
fierce light.
garbage starts to fall away. There's nothing about me that's perfect. I'm not. I mean, I'm still overweight. I mean, I'm vegan and I put on weight. There's a whole range of issues. It doesn't stop me from loving someone. It doesn't stop me from creating food. It doesn't matter. I just want to wake up and go to bed and just be of service, not as a fictional thing, but as something I love doing. I love to
Yeah.
see. What gives me so much joy and puts tears in my eyes, elation, is seeing something I've created and other people are benefiting from it and giving
Yeah.
them, and it brings me so much joy and fulfillment. And that's
Especially
what
sharing food
exactly.
that you have grown and stuff.
Oh,
Oh,
homes,
it makes me so happy all the time to share the
providing
stuff I
shelter,
grow. Oh
providing
yeah.
shelter, providing clean drinking water,
Yeah.
working up, helping, building each other. They bring me so much joy to see that joy and to see kids brought up in the joy of this. This is where the garbage hit and the sirens on the island is fading away
If
because
you're
we
not
refuse to play
making
it out with each other.
yeah, if you're not making someone else's life better, you're wasting
Then
your
you
time. So
exactly.
that's it. So Arthur, we're out. Boom.
All right, mate.
I'm grateful, very grateful for you here tonight. As always. Just want to express it.